Welcome to day one of broiler farming. These are just day-old chicks. They have been delivered from the hatchery a few hours ago. And so this is the first time you want to sort them out in terms of food. Now I want to take you through very quick steps of what we do. I've just taken them out of the box and put them in the brooder. Now brooder is a special section for chicks that is designed to contain them for about 2-3 weeks, by which time they'll have formed some feathers. Right now you can look at them, they are so tender, and so they need very tender care. If you can look around and see the bulb you're using, it's a special bulb. I'll show you separately. It's called infrared. And then if you check on the edges of the unit, they are circular in nature. They are curved. I will tell you why they have to be curved. And then if you look carefully on the base, so let me project on the base. I have laid newspapers. I first of all lay sacks underneath and then newspapers. That is where I'll sprinkle feed, and I'll also put water there in a short while. Right, so you can see they're a bit noisy because they have not eaten anything. We want to start giving them food, but we begin with water first. And there are steps that we follow when we have to give them water. The water has to be lukewarm, so you warm the water, or you boil water, then mix with cold water to make it lukewarm. Then we mix what we call liquid paraffin and also chick start in the water. I'll show you those two in a while. Okay, there you can see we have our bottle of liquid paraffin. I'm using a company called Impact. You can use whichever that is close to you. Then we have another sachet there of chick start. You can see it's called water soluble. Those two you need to mix. The instructions are given on the quantity that you give at the back, so you need to read at the back and see. Now I wish you to look at, just observe the small drinkers that are put in place. I'll show you out of this. They are very tiny ones, very small drinkers. Now the first few hours we use those small drinkers meant for chicks. You can put several of them in the units. Just want to direct to another place so that you can see. I have a total of 6 of them in a population of 500 broilers, and I'll do this for only 1 hour or so, or 2, when they're scrambling for water, so that they do not step on each other and drown. If you use bigger ones, I'll show you bigger ones, and what is likely to happen, they can easily drown or step on each other when the surface is big. You see, like this one here, jumping very close to the source of water. So if the base is very big, then they can easily drown there, or the one that goes in there first is stepped on, and you may lose some of them the first few hours because of the source of water. So to avoid those accidents, especially the first few hours when they have arrived on the farm, make sure you use the small drinkers. So far I've only started with water. After a while, after they have taken water, I will now sprinkle the feed on the newspapers, and I will show you in a short while the major types of feeds that we have for the broilers, especially the chicks. Right there you can see that's a slightly bigger drinker whose base is bigger. This one you can only introduce it after several hours they have been around. There's even the biggest, so you don't use that until they are 2-3 weeks old. So for now, we'll move to the next one after a while. Later in the day or later in the evening, we'll now be using that drinker that I've just shown you. Next we have feeds. Right on my hand here, we have, this one I'm holding is mash, you may not see clearly. And then we have another category here that we call crumbs. Crumbs are particles. Crumbs are fine particles. That's why they're called crumbs. And the other one is broiler starter mash, which is a bit finer. So for the first 14 to 21 days, 14 days to 21, you will use the crumbs or the mash. The difference is so slight. The mash is a bit finer and the crumbs are slightly bigger particles. So whichever you choose, you can decide to use either you start with mash, starter mash, or crumbs, depending on what you may prefer or is available around you. Back to the brooder. Now you can see the chicks are scrambling around the water. As I said, you need to get small drinkers so that when they scramble, they do not have a stampede where they'll step on each other and drown. So you can see how they are moving around the unit. They are happy. And the first 2 weeks, the instructions are normally you maintain the temperatures of the incubator, which is around 38 degrees, thereabouts. Now the temperatures have to be relatively high. The room must be warm, or the unit. For me, I use a unit, a special unit design, because I get broilers every 2 weeks, so the unit is permanently here, ready for them. So make sure that it's warm. Like in this batch of 500, I have 3 bulbs called infrared, the ones meant for providing heat. Right? You can have a look. And I said underneath I have newspapers because they soak. They can absorb, actually. They can absorb the water and the moisture. But this can only happen for 2-3 days, and then I'll remove them. I'll show you step by step. So this is day 1 of broilers. Day 1. So at this point now, I'll sprinkle feed on the newspapers, just enough for them to peck. I'll do this maybe once or twice. The chicks arrived here at around 2 p.m. Kenyan time. And so after 1 hour, I gave them water. After another like 30 minutes after they have taken some water, now I'll sprinkle the feed. Yeah, these ones look happy. You can see there's movement across the unit. They are evenly distributed in the unit, which tells you the temperatures are fine. If you find them cuddled in one corner or crowded in one corner or trying to get close to the source of heat, that would be an indication that the heat is not sufficient. At any given point, they should be well spread within the room, within the brooder, not crowding to one place, an indication that it's not very warm, or trying to scramble towards the source of heat. So make sure the distribution of heat is even and good throughout the first 2 weeks or 3, depending on the place where you live. If it's a very cold parts of your country, or then you need to ensure that you provide enough heat. There are various sources of heat. You can use electricity like I do, and you need to have backup in case there is blackout or power failure. Sometimes when there's power failure, what you do, you quickly boil water, and in plastic jerry cans, place them at strategic points in the room so that they produce the heat for the time that the power will be away. The other alternative, if you can get the gas heaters, that will be fine. The other option is where you use charcoal. We have special charcoal heaters meant for chicks, especially those made from ceramic, clay. We have pots made of clay. Then they have perforations or holes around the pots, which allow them to exude or release heat. Right? So that is about how you receive chicks day 1. You need to monitor closely. There we are. Okay. Thank you for watching this. Remember to subscribe. Just down at the video, remember to click the subscribe button so that you'll be receiving updates going forward until These chicks mature to be chicken, and I told you, broilers take exactly from this stage up to the time they are ready for market. It's 42 days or less, depending on how you will raise them. You can make it longer if you so wish, there's no harm. But on average, 42 days. That's 6 weeks. So thank you for today. Once again, remember to subscribe to keep us in business of informing you. That is what will motivate us to continue giving you more videos and more tutorials. Thank you, and enjoy your viewing.